So I want to just quickly speak to something that I know is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, but it'll make many other people be like, yeah. There's been a lot of like showing of solidarity from folks that may have the best intentions, but they're saying things like, they're kneeling, they're saying, I take responsibility. We've got these companies that are sending out these weird, generic, Black people, we care about you messages. And I know that there's folks on the other side of these messages who are like, why don't Black people want to hear this? Like, why aren't you guys being responsive to this? One reason is because we're like, well, we'd like to see actual action. Like, these are things that we didn't ask for. We didn't ask for solidarity. We didn't ask for Juneteenth holidays. We asked for, legislation. We asked for you guys making spaces in your financial realm for actual growth, etc. So there's that. But there's also just the fact that animals evolve by learning what works and what doesn't for their survival. I think it's safe to say for a lot of Black people that in the world, in its history of civilization, it has proven that it is best for Black folks' survival to not simply just trust white words. Because we have seen so many times those words simply twisted and manipulated for the elevation of whiteness. What do you mean, Amanda? A couple examples. A few even. Manifest destiny. White people just made up some shit that said that God said that they could traverse the country and kill the indigenous people and take over the land because it was their destiny. Divine right. White people were like, yeah, like God said that we have the divine right to just sail all over the globe and take over shit and kill whoever's there because it's our divine right to have this land. And then proceeded to literally rape and pillage and figuratively rape and pillage Africa of its resources, and not just people, but actual like the ground and the soil. Racism. White people literally invented race just to have slaves. They just made it up. They were like, yeah, like white is better. That makes sense. That works, right? That's all we need to do this shit that we want to do for our own elevation, right? Yeah. We've seen this continue over and over and over again. Oh, the Confederacy it's not about slavery. That's just, it's a culture. That's a fucking lie. The Confederacy was literally hurtful to everybody else. And even though there may be white people that get the short end of that stick, it's made for the preservation and the advancement of simply just created for the purpose of retaining slaves and not wanting to have anybody say anything or have a problem with it. You see what I'm doing here? I'm showing you a trend of white lies that are whiteness. Even before there was race, there was this idea that, Europe was elite. And this manifested. I can keep going. Climate change, that's not real. They literally just be lying straight up. And I'm not saying that there aren't white scientists that completely counteract that. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is there are a huge legion of white people that are in power and that are supporting those in power that literally just go along with this lie because it serves their interests. Even if it is going to deplete the world, they will kill the world to save themselves. That's a thing. So when we see white people who are also saying systemic racism isn't a real thing, it's just lies that are just made up to support their own advancement at the forsaking of anything in its path or anyone. So understand that no, this distrust, this precaution, this temerity doesn't sit in a dislike of white people. What it sits in is an evolutionary response to seeing how the words of white folks have been used to literally demolish the lives of those who are in their way.